Good evening and welcome. This is a live podcast from Southern California, and our host is me, Bob, and to my left is Danielle, and she's from Georgia. She's a Georgia peach.
Georgia Peach.
Yeah. So I want to welcome all you that have been following us, that has been, texting comments, making phone calls, all our followers. I want to welcome all the new followers. You're at the right spot. How to fight CPS and hang on to your children.
Mm-hmm.
How to fight CPS and hang on to your children. I first like to go over our ground rules, or whatever you want to call them, our room rules, or whatever it is there. There are three ways to interact with this podcast. One is that you can text in a comment. And that's from wherever you're at. If you're from, all I ask you is that you make the topic CPS, Child Protection System, and that you tell me your name, and then you need to put in your city, state, or country. And then you want to be very complete with your CPS case so that we can understand the whole case to constantly asking questions. But I want you to know that both of us really care about you individually. I'm a loving father, a husband, and I have a family of 6 children and a wife of 32 years. And so I have been in CPS. There's no question about that. So I can help you from my experience, and Danielle's been the same thing. We're both fighting to get our kids. I got 2 of my 3 kids were removed. One of them was taken away for true by CPS. Not only that, they made me sell my home, and I had to get money for an attorney. So I lost my home. We lost our daughter, and that is sad. That's what CPS has done to me. That is a horrible feeling. They have somebody raised for 12 years, and suddenly they are brainwashed and convinced to thinking they can divorce their parents, change their name, seal their birth certificate like they weren't even born by us, and be adopted into foster care home. That's what our daughter did. She did all this at 12. She didn't know better. It was a CPS worker that told us that she wanted revenge. You see, I'm sad to say there's a lot of revenge that goes in with CPS.
Bob, and when you get done talking about the rules and stuff, I do want to talk about something that is going to that, what you just said. So, yeah.
Go ahead and talk about it.
Well,
no formality here.
Well, the thing is I was reading John Ossoff is a senator. He's that U.S. senator. But I read a report from April 15th, 2024 this year, and it said Ossoff's report could leave Georgia with the same lousy welfare system, only bigger. And when you're reading this report, it said, where is it at? Let me find it. And this is what caught my eye and caught my attention with Ossoff. And where'd it go? Oh no. I read it. Okay.
You'll find it. It's in the history.
Yeah.
It never loses.
Yeah. Well, no, I got it right in front of me, but I wanted to read to you what caught my eye in this report.
Go ahead.
That it said so here is this 64-page investigation, right? So they did this big investigation, and that's the one I was telling you about. Well, did you know that now since he didn't focus on what he should have, which is wrongful removal. He was focused on everything else. And this report says that this is every indication that Ossoff is sincere and genuinely wants to help vulnerable children, but that will only make it harder to persuade him because of a critical error in his analysis. His report may trigger a response that makes everything even worse. The report is likely to kick into overdrive the foster care panic. So what they're saying is that these caseworkers are going to retaliate and go and remove even more kids because they did not focus on the poverty confused with neglect, he ignored the needless removal of children from homes that are safe and could be made if families received the right kind of help. They didn't make that their focus. And that's where now, with them doing this thing, they're afraid that the system DFACS is going to retaliate, and you'll have to read it. It's crazy. That they're saying that the money and effort spent harassing these families and taking away their children, stolen from finding the relatively few children in danger, perhaps that because birth parents and their lawyers were largely shut out of OSOF's investigation. So but because OSOF ignored wrongful removal, his report is likely to generate another knee-jerk rush to take away even more children. So as entries into foster care escalate, everyone will be even more involved and even more children in danger. So here I am in Georgia, and now that DFCS will announce another tired recruitment campaign for foster parents that never works. All these new caseworkers wind up chasing all these new cases, and all you get is the same lousy system, only bigger. So the last time,
is this in Georgia?
Yes, and this was
and this is a senator or a representative?
This is the U.S. senator that I was telling you about, the one that I told you I was in contact with, and this is the one
and
that
What's his name again?
John Ossoff. Let me I will, and this is nationwide, y'all. This is all over the U.S. This is going on. So with this, it's not just Georgia. This is going to be everywhere, because this investigation has triggered every state. And with him, the focus is this wrongful removal.
I don't know how to spell Ossoff. Is it John Bishop?
No, it's OSSOFF. Let me put it in the thing for you, Bob. Sorry.
OSSOFF.
Yes. So it's OSSOFF. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, what a name, right? And then let's see, there's that.
All I
and
came
then
up
Bob
was the bishop.
Oh, no, it didn't let me. Okay, Bob, here.
There it is, John, Jon. There's a picture of him.
Yeah, and then I sent you the link to that article in the private chat. I put it in the regular chat. But they also say that if Ossoff really wants to protect our children, he should go back to the drawing board and embrace the real solutions. So, and they're saying like DFCS actually took money away from poor people to finance making the family policy system even bigger.
What did he do? What did he do with CPS?
So they had the last year in February, they opened up this bipartisan of investigation over the reform of the Georgia's foster care system, and these kids being abused and these kids missing and everything. And now they're saying that he has and you got to think everything goes back to neglect, but he's getting poverty and neglect. Like, I don't know what he's not realizing what's really going on, like Ossoff seems to forget everything he believes in about civil liberties and due process as soon as someone whispers the words child abuse in his ear. So it's a policy, and make no mistake, it is a policy system, policing system. It's hard to imagine any of my fellow progressives issuing a report on policing without mentioning issues like racism and racial bias. But that too is entirely missing from Ossoff's report. Like many other progressives, Ossoff seems to forget that he believes about civil liberties and due process as soon as someone whispers child abuse in his ear. So it's like they tried, and that's what DFCS was trying to cover up. And they've been, and this right here explains why they were telling, like me, they told the subcommittee, which is John Ossoff's, that my concern has been reviewed and satisfactorily resolved. They told everybody that. And that tells you right there that DFCS, okay, they'll retaliate. They will. And that's crazy because the numbers have jumped 11% in the state of Georgia for them removing kids, and all of them, I mean, they just jump automatically to foster care. And then on top of that, how is it that these concerns are satisfactorily resolved? Why isn't this being catching his attention? So
I got some information. You know who runs the foster care system in the U.S.?
Who is it? Uh-oh.
Okay, today foster care in the United States is a complex structure of non-governmental organizations, NGOs, working together with state governments and the federal government to provide service to children deemed in need.
So, okay, and I do have that I did have someone reach out to me that are advocates for parental rights and stuff, and they're wanting to know more about my case and what I'm wanting to bring attention to. So we're getting the attention of people, of these advocacy groups and everything. But and that's what's gonna have to happen. We're gonna have to get, I mean, we got to get this guy.
Here's some more information about the foster care. Currently in the foster care system in the U.S., there are more than 4,000 children in foster care.
Yes.
And they range from infants to 21 years old in some states.
And then
the average age of a child in foster care is more than 8 years old.
Yep.
There's slightly more boys than girls.
Yep, teenagers. And that's and then in Georgia, I know that extended foster care, like with my sons in, Georgia denied any federal funding for these kids that are in extended foster care. So there's billions of dollars sitting there doing nothing that could be helping these kids like my son, you know, and that's these ones that don't have family, that, you know, and they're not looking at the stuff they need to. They're looking at other things. And like they said, when you whisper child abuse in his ear, then he wants to think about it. No, that's what we've been hollering. But we don't need to go there and holler, but we're just going to have to, we got to get this guy's attention again. Like him and Martha.
There's ways to fix the foster care system.
Oh yeah. But it's DFCS.
We need to protect the religion, liberty, and faith-based foster care system and adopted providers.
Yep. And
2, we need to implement expanded adoption tax credit for foster families. 3,
is this what you read in his findings or his
No,
plan?
This is something on my own.
Okay.
This is support organization that aim for decrease the number of children entering foster care. Better support for foster parents, and improve mental and behavioral health care. Those are policy guidelines for the states.
Because they're saying, like he's saying in his report, that there is massive, but DFCS here in Georgia is firing back at him, saying that he's accusing Ossoff of political gamesmanship. This guy is really he's passionate about helping these children. These are America's most vulnerable children. These are the kids that are being removed for things that they shouldn't be.
Right.
Wrongful removal is the main area that DFCS is nationwide the biggest problem, and that's what leads into these foster care problems. That's where they should look.
Well, you know what the U.S. government gives to foster care? Just foster care alone for those 400 million children.
Probably a lot.
Not 400 million. I'm sorry, 400,000.
Yeah.
They give 1.8 billion out of the 50 billion that CPS has. 1.8 is given to foster care. Now, my question is, why does only 2 billion get to go to foster care, and then 48 billion gets to stay in CPS's hands? That doesn't make sense.
And in this report, that some DFCS employees sued. Wait a minute. In 2022, the most recent year, 87% of the time, children were placed in foster care in cases where there was not even an allegation of sexual abuse. My son was one of the kids being hoteled in 2022. He was hoteled. In 57% of these cases, there wasn't even an allegation of substance abuse. And then 47% involved neglect, which often mean poverty. So, but he did not mention nothing about poverty. And that's what these families are lacking. We live at poverty level. I'm paycheck to paycheck, but there's no sexual abuse. There's no substance abuse. We're parents. We just maybe lacked housing, which I have a stable place, but maybe it's not up to code. But that's the thing. Why are they getting away with jumping straight to foster care?
The chairman of the foster care, there's a foster care system that has a chairman, which is your OSA friend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They found 7 key findings.
Yep. And did you know that 1/4 to 1/3 of family foster homes and the rate of abuse in group homes and institutions is even worse now? They found abuse and they it's no wonder multiple studies find that in typical cases, children left in their own homes typically are far better even than comparably maltreated children forced into foster care. So these children are better. I mean, it's like they're throwing them into danger. They're putting them into even more danger, money and effort all the time, money and effort spent harassing our families and taking away the children is, they're saying that's making things happen when relatively they're stolen, but from finding the relatively few children in real danger. So the kids that are in danger, they're not getting those kids. They are worried about this parent.
Well, you were right. Last February, reports from an independent watchdog and the press that children in the care of Georgia's DFCS, that's Department of Family Children's Services, have been subject to abuse and neglect.
Yep.
Chairman also launched an inquiry to assess the safety of children in foster care in Georgia and nationwide. Over the course of this 15-month investigation, the subcommittee convened 4 public hearings, receiving public testimony from witnesses, including juvenile court judges, former foster youth, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and the former ombudsman of the Georgia's child welfare system.
And I've been in touch.
The subcommittee interviewed more than 100 witnesses and sources and reviewed thousands of pages of documents to investigate the human rights violations children may suffer in foster care.
And now, you know what? Now that after reading this, I'm going to email this lady and tell her the subcommittee and say, hey, because they keep in contact with me, and I know I don't care if they hear it with me live. The people that are dealing with me and my son, and because they already know. John Ossoff's subcommittee told them that they were supposed to have my son back in Georgia in November of last year. My son was supposed to be brought back to Georgia, but they still haven't. But I know they hate it that he is involved in my situation. But you know what?
I'm really glad, Danielle, that you had this. Why I thought it was important for you to talk first before I get into all the particulars of the room.
But you see how that revenge, when you were talking about revenge?
I do. What I want to do is I want to welcome Natalia, Lori, who joined our room.
Natalia.
Natalia is from West Hollywood, California.
So there's word around the
Lori,
bench.
we never know. She's on here every night. She talks about a guy named William Mullins. So we're glad to see you back, Lori. And Nadia, I'm so glad to have you. Enjoyed your talking to us this morning.
Ron Weber. And
I saw his name somewhere. Where did he disappear to?
It's up at the top. Yeah. And then
Ron Weber says, tell CPS to get out of your house. You have done nothing wrong. Also, you don't want or need to talk to them. That's true, Ron. But instead of antagonizing, the best way to do is don't let them in the house. And if you're outside, tell them you want to talk to your attorney before you pursue any more talking to them. One thing is you don't want to ruffle the feathers too bad. If you go there and tell them bad. That's, you got to work with them because they control it. They have your neck
Well,
in a
here in
noose.
Georgia, I know that their feathers are ruffled already. I mean, because they're firing back at the subcommittee and John Ossoff. But as parents, and especially here in Georgia, we need to. Come on. I mean, it's time to we got to fight back because they just think they can just bully. I mean, really, it's a bullying. That's what they're doing. They're bullying and trafficking our kids, and we don't know.
Now I have a new group. I have a new group, Danielle. This is Word Around the Bench.
Mm-hmm.
So CPS had our children for 7 months now here in Oklahoma. So this is Word Around the Bench. And we finally had our first court date since December yesterday. We've completed everything on our ISP plan. I forgot what ISP is.
It's a safety plan, individual safety plan.
Individual safety plan. And they went and told the judge that we just check in boxes and have made poor progress. The worker before all this said that we're going to ask for unsupervised visit this time around. It was never given, never mentioned. We need to see the FFA agencies are founded by the government in terms of what are the FFA?
Federal funding are funded by the government and terrorism.
Okay.
Missing
Word Around the Bench. I'm glad you're here. Lori, I'm glad you're here. Ron, I'm here. If you want to call, that's great. If you like to call in. And what does Ron say down here at the bottom? Talk is cheap. Yeah, actions. I agree with what you're saying there. Okay, I was just talking about ways to interact with the podcast.
Talk is cheap. What do you say? Talk is cheap. Action. I
read that.
I've been showing action. Yeah. I can vouch for the action I've been showing because I'm pushing and I'm not stopping either.
Let me get this in here. The way you interact with this room of one of three ways is one, you're going to text a message, a CPS question or a comment or something there. You're going to give them your name and your city and state or country. We have right now Australia, Canada, United Kingdom. We have Ghana, which is in South America. And then we have Mexico. And then we have Mozambique in Africa. And then we have Denmark. And these are countries that have the same problems we do. That's why I enjoy talking to them because they've helped make comments in the room there. So that's one way. The second way is that you could call in. And Ron, if you want to call in, I'd love to have you. You call in to 626-698-0990. That's 626-698-0990. So please call in and you can talk on the show. You'll speak on my speakerphone. Your picture will not be shown on the screen. And so we'd love to have you talk there. Natia talked this morning, and people all the time are talking. So I'd like to have, other than Danielle talking, to hear your guys' voice and how we can help you. The third way is that you can schedule to be on my show, one of 14 shows. I'm on 7 days a week, twice a day, morning and evening. I'm on the morning at 10 o'clock in the morning for an hour Pacific Standard Time, in the evening at 7 o'clock per hour Pacific Standard Time. There are some exceptions. Every Sunday I've changed it from 10 to 8 o'clock in the morning. So on Sunday, I'm on at 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. This Tuesday only, I'm going to be on at 5 o'clock on Tuesday instead of at 7 o'clock. I got a commitment with my son at high school, so that's why I'm doing it an hour early. So I'm going to be on at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And that's on this Tuesday only. So anyway, you're going to email to Grace at vincentwdavis.com. That's Grace at vincentwdavis.com. You email her and you tell her what show you want to be on. I want to be on the morning show on Friday. I want to be on the Monday show at nighttime. That's all you do. It's either morning or afternoon, and you either can say Monday through Sunday, one of those days. And that way, you're all set to go, and you don't have to be on camera if you don't want to, and you can talk on the show. So that's the third way you can interact with this podcast. One is to text a message. Two is to call the number 626-698-0990, or three is to schedule a time. So that takes care of the house rules I usually do at the first part of the show. Now, there's three rules that I've lately have not been able to really go over lately because we've run out of time because of important things. Because if there's topics on right now that need to be answered, we will address those.
Oh,
so anyway, foster family agency. Oh, that's what that is. Oh, okay. Thank you, Natalie. I didn't know that's what that was. The FFA, Foster Family Agency. I don't know if there's a foster family agency. They're non-governmental. They're not government agencies. So I don't know what kind of foster it is. Do you know, Danielle?
Do I know? The foster family agencies? That's
well, I don't know if they're agencies or private because I just read that they do not. They're non-GOs. They're not government agencies. Foster is not a government agency.
It's supposed to be like private.
It is
kind of like third parties. What is? Yeah, they're but that's what I mean in Georgia. They're contracted by DFCS. That's right. They usually are. But then what's the facilities? Like the facility my son's at, Devereaux Advanced.
Is that a private or is that a government?
I don't know. I just know they have them. I think it's a government.
But because it can't be if it's foster. If it's I mean, I don't think the government does that. I think it's run privately.
I know that the place that my son's at there is some of these places in Georgia. It's called Devereaux Advanced Behavioral Health. There's some in Pennsylvania, Texas, Georgia, Florida, and I believe there's okay, and I believe there's some up north of it, but they all and there's a judge in Atlanta, Georgia, that is the Honorable Judge Devereaux, and his son, they're affiliated with these facilities. So
okay,
yeah, and the guardian ad litem that's over my son is really affiliated, and that's why they were so quick to find this. That all of a sudden that he was, it's something between the guardian ad litem and this place that my son was so quick to go out there, because there's these places in Georgia, they do the same thing, as well as I called several different places, like the private ones, and they group homes myself, and they had beds open. So they're gonna tell me, I mean, and I prove that, and that's because it's just, why send them out? There's a reason why they send them out of state, but yes, the facility that my son's at, they're in like 5 different states, and they are privately owned. That by Devereaux. I forgot the guy's name. Just like Cook's Medical Center out there in Texas, in Tarrant County, they are coinciding with the sheriff that does the investigations out there. And they're like doing child abuse about him. Parents are doing that Munchausen, what is it? Like Gypsy Rose Blanchard ad. Penny Lane in Valley, is it? Yeah. Because I'm looking up Deborah right now. It'll tell me they sent me a welcome book last year, but I mean, and what's crazy is I can go there in Texas, and I can see I can take my son out. I can do things and take him like home if I lived out there. But why can't I do that here? That's what I haven't. It's crazy. My brother's kind of scared. Hold on. Just one. Munson, yes.
All the foster care, they're not federal agencies. They're not private. Here's one here that's called davethomasfoundation.org and help children in foster care.
Yep.
And donate to Davison for adoption and a guided star platinum accredited charity, nonprofit. So what they've done is foster cares are usually nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
The agencies.
Devereaux is a nonprofit organization. Yes.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's one of the nation's largest nonprofit organizations providing services, insight, and leadership in behavioral health care.
Okay.
No.
All right. Well, let me get into my rules.
But they have a lot of lawsuits.
I guess we got nobody that wants to text in a question or phone in, so I'll go over the rules that will help you. For all you new listeners, listen carefully. For all you old listeners, listen again. Rule number 1, you're going to have to get an attorney. And I think Danielle will agree with me that if you don't have an attorney, you're going to be lost. And what I mean by that is that the knowledge that I use is that you're going to find the child protection system very corrupt. They're so bad. If you know the story of Alice in Wonderland, she's in her garden and she falls in a rabbit hole and goes into all these rooms that go nowhere, talks to all these people that go nowhere. That's what the child protection system is. I mean, the mentality of the social workers, and Danielle knows about this at Prescott, Arizona. There are 8 social workers that decided on their own to create pink T-shirts that say on the front, "We are professional child kidnappers." And on the back, they said, "Parents, do you know where your children are at?" They're implying that CPS is picking up all the children and putting them into foster care. That's their MO. So these social workers thought it was funny. And that's the mentality of them in these pink T-shirts parading around in the city. There you go. Danielle's put them up there. There they are. 8 of them with over 25 years of experience. This was in 2022 in Prescott, Arizona. They were fired right away. And the CPS director was fired also. The CPS worker was fired also. But you see the ladies, there are some with their shirts to your back. Like there's like 3 shirts to the back, and there is 1, 2, 3, 4 shirts to the front. There's one lady that's missing in that picture. There's 8 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, it's cut off.
7, but there's 8. So the picture was probably cut off.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's what social workers think of you. So that's why you need an attorney. And I don't mean a court-appointed attorney. So many of you are still trying to think a court-appointed attorney is going to help you. They're not going to help you. Do you not?
No. Yeah.
I agree with you, Ron Weber.
Ron, you know, my son wasn't even removed from my care at all. And the protective removal, there was no, I mean, it's, yeah, I mean.
Hi, Imaka Richardson. Glad to see you back.
It's crazy. And
yeah.
And there's no warrant for removal or nothing. I don't even know my case.
Well, here's the thing is, you need to get this attorney for a lot of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
They're not transparent. They're not your friend. They are a spider putting a web around you and drawing you into their system.
Right.
They'll eat you alive and spit you out. They don't like parents. They don't like seniors. They don't like elderly. And they don't do family reunification. And why should we be doing family reunification? There's nothing wrong with the family. They have the bad habit lately of taking every child because they think it's in danger when it's not in danger. Mine weren't in danger. Mine were at school. What kind of danger were they in?
My
This
son
is
is
sad
always
because
very
you don't
sad.
know the system. All right, we got somebody here. Oh, this is the latest caller. Hi, Mika.
Hi, Bob. It's Akima.
Yes, glad to have you, Akima. How are you tonight?
Hi. I'm good tonight. I try to watch you as much as I can.
Well, thank you. I was just talking about rule number 1 to get an attorney. A lot of people, I've been trying to help them get an attorney that doesn't cost money. I'm talking about a pro bono attorney. And
they're out there.
they're out there. You just need to do the homework.
You got to put in the footwork.
Yes, thank you. But what you do, you start off, and you want to start off, find a attorney, and let's say your city is called Podunk U, and the next biggest city is Dallas, Texas. I'm picking on Dallas, Texas. I don't know why, but you want to find in Podunk U and Dallas, Texas, a pro bono family law attorney. That's all you have to put in there, and a bunch of names are going to pop up. And with that bunch of names, you're going to call 10 of them. 10 of them that you can tell to be best ones to call. The reason why you're calling them is 1, you want to find out if they're still in business. 2, you want to find out if there are a pro bono attorney that don't charge. 3, you want to find out if they've had experience fighting CPS cases. And then you want to find out if they fought in dependency court. Do they know how to fight in dependency court? Further, have they got the children back? What's their track record? After you find out this information, then you're going to pick 5 from the list of 10 to do consultation, because now you've narrowed it down to 5. But I want you to put in one attorney in there is Vincent W. Davis. He will talk to you as a consultation for 30 minutes for $60. 30 minutes for $60, $2 a minute. And he's well worth the time because I figure he's the best one to fight CPS. He'll help you navigate and how to fight CPS and get your children back. And if you like him, you can retain him too. He'll talk about his fees. He does go out of state, but he's got to be paid for his travel time and for his accommodations where he sleeps. That's all he's asking is to sleep and car transportation, the flight to get there. And he'll fight your case. His fees are the same whether in California or somewhere else, as far as the luring part goes.
I'm in Brooklyn, New York, so
Yeah, that's fine.
I actually have court, Bob, on Tuesday.
Okay.
And that's for the second part, the fact finding.
Okay.
But unfortunately, as of last Tuesday, like I was telling you guys before, they have suspended all communication and visits, and did not have a court order to do so. But the very next day, put an emergency hearing. Now, from my knowledge, like I told you guys before, I became a family attorney, but I am unable to practice in New York based on my current case being, mental health. So they're basically trying to tell me I'm unfit. I have received an evaluation. I have paid for 2 bonding studies out of my pocket. I have actually had an expert send a certified verification of me being in service, as well as working my treatment plan and using my resources to show that there is no imminent risk, there is no substantial danger, and there was no less restrictive alternative for removal, because they did not provide me the resources I had been requesting for months based on an allegation of a previous case of my child with sexual assault. And they turned everything on me, and then they're making it seem like because I have called for wellness checks, Mr. Dodd, wellness checks based on my children being sent to school in active crisis with auditory hallucinations, or because I've received phone calls from various staff at my children's school letting me know that there have been, eye infections or bruises or things like that. So because the foster parent has me on block, and I'm reaching out as per my court order that says I am entitled to electronic communication every night by someone other than the foster parent, every time she has made those calls or supervised those calls, she has been in contempt. My attorney has filed those things because I do have one on retainer, and the motions were denied. They also put in a 1028 to have the children returned to me based on those evaluations being sent in and validated and verified. And, they were credible and they were admissible. And still I was looked at as the bad person. I'm traumatizing my children. Their children's attorney is saying, quote unquote, they're destabilizing based on me and the foster parent not having a very cordial and communicative relationship because she picks and chooses when she wants to honor the orders.
Yes, yes. I want to welcome Faye. She's been fighting sickness for about a week. She did make it tonight. And welcome, Faye. She's from Richmond, Kentucky. And she has a hard case. The police are harassing her. And she's trying to, similar what Danielle's trying to do. Now, Lombardo is having a permanency trial on Tuesday. That's not good. Rosemary,
At all. That's not good at all.
that means they're going to take your children away. Do not say anything. And if it happens, you can appeal your case there.
The final order, yeah.
Mr. Bob, does that mean that that's one of those proceedings where they try to terminate your rights?
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, because they're trying to tell me, I think the first person that came on for my fact finding was the secretary for my children's school, and her statement was retracted based on lack of credibility and because it was a conflict of interest. She is still interrogating the children about things going on when they come to my visit. So it's used against me as negatively, but my 11-year-old, like I was telling you guys before, she's very defiant and very, very persistent. And anytime I do implement, reprimand using my coping skills that I've learned in my
Don't give up, Rosemary.
She's, it's sad. It's really sad that my relationship is being strained. I'm stage 4 cancer, and I should be making memories.
Right.
Yes, I feel for you there, and that is, I agree with you on that. The thing about New York, I can't say nice things about New York because I think the trial system, whether you're in criminal court or in dependency court or any kind of court, as you can see every day, we see the court at the New York State level is horrible. It's the most corrupt.
Yes, it is, and it's like they neglect. They tell you one thing about the foster system. They say their first mission with CPS is providing these parents with adequate resources and support to prevent unsafe and imminent risk situations for these parents or children in their demographic. So basically, that's a cold crop because that's false advertisement at its finest.
Yes.
So why do they get to say things and it's just they just get a pass, and then we as parents, when we do enforce our rights, anytime we assert ourselves or anytime we enforce orders that are written by the person who has the last say, who is the judge, then they restrict our communication or they restrict our parenting time. And then when we go to the next level as far as filing a complaint, then we're considered being irrational or combative, and it's not fair.
Yeah,
and as Mr. Vince said, it's not never. Life is not fair, but still, these things are not supposed to be able to be done. And in New York, it's ridiculous how they just bias as parents, especially if you have a history or if you are aggressive or assertive. They mistake our passion for our children and the love for them. They base that and use it as either it's a substance abuse thing or it's a mental health thing, or with my case now it's medical, and I'm fighting all of these things and still making my children services, and then it's everything I'm doing that I am aware of, and what the parents won't have information when they're at the I'm just trying to find these things out when I'm entitled to them with my rights intact.
I agree with you. Here's what I'm going to say to you is that there was a lady named Carol a couple days ago who is going around helping people, and she's from Indiana. And she said that your CPS case must be reported to the state.
Right.
And if
And
it's
I
not
did that.
reported to the
I
state,
reported it to
it's
the
not a valid
my
CPS.
registration.
It's not a valid CPS case.
Okay. On
And
what grounds though? Like what would I say as far as like in the report?
well, here's what I'm going to tell you what to do here.
You would find out if it's
And so if you were in California, tell me how it would be in California so I could look up the law here to see if they, they
Okay,
are very similar.
okay. If I was in California, which I am, I would
Right.
contact the Department of Child, Family, and Adult Services.
Yep.
And in
Does not
there,
have
I
that
would
back.
contact the Civil Rights Coordinator.
Mhm.
Their phone number is in California 916-875-200. And I would say to them, I have a case here by the county of LA or Orange County. Here's my number. Is it on file with you guys? And if it's not, then you want to file a complaint against the county that brought your case up that they have not filed it particularly. And I think the case gets dropped, if I'm not mistaken. Do you think that's right?
It's supposed. Yeah, it's supposed to.
But according to Mr. Davis, he's saying maybe that is not possible at this time based on the case being in fact finding. So with the statute in New York, based on their case law, if your case is already past the dispositional hearing and the adjudication, and now you're in fact finding, we don't have that option to implement that motion or that affidavit to put in because we are so I guess so much far into the case that the module that we're in does not permit those motions.
Well, Mr. Davis would know better because he's the attorney. So
that's what he's saying. That's what he was saying. That if it's, according to the law in California, he was saying that if the case is already in fact finding, when I asked for the 1028, it would not be heard based on us already being in fact finding. That is not a time when you can put that motion up.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like screwed because they dragged the fact that I did not have adequate counsel. I have things that I know I'm entitled to based on myself being an attorney as well as the knowledge that I have of the case law. But I'm not being heard by, the judge or by CPS or the children's attorney based on my history or based on me asserting my rights as a parent.
Yes. Faye, I want to make a comment. The ombudsperson in California is a what did I just say? It is a civil rights coordinator. It's the same thing. If it doesn't say in Kentucky civil rights coordinator, don't worry about it. Ombudsperson's the same thing. And so
Mr. Bob, if they violated your rights with the Indian Preservation Act, who do you speak to? Because I'm also tribal.
Okay, yeah. Let me go over the ICWA. We haven't talked about that in a couple days. The Indian Welfare Child Act of 1978 was put into law because for the last 50 years, CPS has taken more Indian children than any other race of children. I'm talking about the Native American Indian, the first immigrants that came over. I'm talking about the Lakota Sioux, the Crow, the Chippewa, the Comanche, the Apache, the Navajo, the Chumash in California, the Eskimos. There's all these tribes, okay? And what this means is that CPS no longer, if that child is a registered of that tribe or could be registered of that tribe, then they have to immediately turn the child over to the tribe. The tribe puts the child into an Indian family to get the other family back together so that they can be intact again. The Indians help their own.
That works in California. They don't do that. They don't honor that, Mr. Bob, in New York. They don't because
all you have to do is look up the federal statute that was enacted of 1978, the ICWA, the Indian Child Welfare Act, and make a copy of that and give them to them in New York and educate them. I think there's Indian tribes.
My ombudsman has reached out, Mr. Bob. That's what I'm trying to tell you. My ombudsman has reached out, and they have not been contacted back based on CPS negligence or just, resistance.
Well, when you guys are here's the thing is, when you guys are at your rope's end, Danielle and I've been telling, please contact your congressman or your representative. They are your constituents, and they are the people that's supposed to help you. And so if you call their office and say that you have a terrible CPS case, your constitutional rights are being violated, your children have been kidnapped, and you want to speak to Congresswoman so-and-so or Congressman so-and-so or the representative. Every state has 2 congressmen.
Mm-hmm.
And each state has numerous representatives based on the population. And New
There
York's
is.
a very populated state, so
Yep.
it must have, probably 6 or 7
We have, like,
representatives.
4,
Okay.
But the thing is, they only work with certain boroughs, certain counties, and then it's like if you've already reached out on one on one complaint, or you've reached out on one issue, they don't want to hear any other issues on a follow-up if you have a history, or if they anywhere in the CPS stature or the foster care agency stature that you have been resistant or hesitant based on them violating rights in prior cases. So nobody listens to you even when you assert your rights, because I even called the ACLU and they reached back out to me and they were willing to help me, and nobody has been receptive as far as on the CPS.
Well, you can go to your Indian tribe and they can demand that child be turned over to them based on the 1978 Indian Child Welfare Act. It's a congressional act.
But that's what I'm saying. We've done that. My ombudsman has come from Honduras to New York to let them know that this is where we belong. He's come through the embassy with all documentation. We are registered, myself, my siblings that are here, as well as my children that were born back home and brought back here.
Well, wait. What Indian tribe are you guys a member of?
We're Patois. We're Patois.
Where are they located?
My main homeland is Honduras. We're from Roatan.
Okay, see what they're talking about is the federal recognized tribes. Have you checked to see if that tribe?
They are recognized because we're recognized by Parliament and our embassy out there. Yes.
No, it's by Honduras. I'm talking about in the United States.
Oh, okay. So
that's where the confusion lies. Yes, It's the federal recognized tribes. So what you do is you just Google federal recognized Indian tribes. In fact, I would do that right now.
I'm doing everything I should tell me.
Yeah. Okay, federal.
And you're right. They are not registered. They are not registered as official tribe. But
I'm not trying to mess you up. I'm not trying to mess you up.
No, you're right, because I just looked them up. They are, because we are international and we're Central American.
Right.
They're not honored by the 5 Islands. So
yeah.
Now it makes sense. So I get it now. I didn't think to go that far, but I appreciate that info.
Now, Faye, you say that Kentucky doesn't honor the Indians. That's hard to believe. A federal recognized tribe is one that is generally eligible for the Pacific special programs and services provided by the United States to Indians because of their status as Indians. Okay, there's 574 federal recognized Indian tribes. There's 574 of them.
Wow.
So that's a lot of tribes. And I have a page, and you guys can look at that. I'm not going to sit here and read 574 Indian tribes. But
what is that page? What's the web address?
I'm going to give it to you right now. I'm going to copy and post it in the.
I'm taking it down right now as we speak.
It's too long.
It's going to be on
I'm
the
going to give you the link. I'm going to give you the link. Okay, so I'm going to put it in right now. Where is it? Here it is, paste. Okay. You guys now will get the link many times over because all the groups that belong to this room, it's going to go through a bunch of groups. Now, do you guys see it in the comments there?
I got it. Yeah, I got it.
Okay, that's the big thick book, 574 tribes.
Wow.
But that's how the ICWA works. That's how the ICWA works. Okay? So if your tribe is listed there, then your next step is to get registered with your tribe. I'm a Lakota Sioux, by the way, from the Rosebud Reservation. But because my great grandmother did not write the name down, there's no records. I don't know who my great grandmother's Indian name. I know her white man's name because she married a white man from Norway, Austin, Norway. And so he was a Viking. And so he married a Lakota Sioux woman. So I'm part Viking and part Lakota Sioux. Yeah, I know. Anyway, I'm finishing up with looking for an attorney here. When you type in, you got your list of names, and you're down to 5 of them. Then you're going to talk to Vincent Davis and call in to 888-888-6582. And make sure you tell the office that Bob Pace sent you. And when you speak to Mr. Davis, make sure that Bob Pace sent you. And also the ticket below my screen, where it says consultation with attorney Vince Davis, care of Bob Pace, candidly.com at the / law office of Vincent WD or VWD / Bob Pace. That takes you right to his appointment calendar. So there's 2 ways you can do it. Get that link or call that number there. But you need to get an attorney. I'm trying to tell you that that thing I told you about trying to do open heart surgery as a layman or a plumber or like that. You're going to get a real doctor. You need a real attorney because CPS is very corrupt. And they're going to tear you apart. They're going to make things hard. Never sign anything. Now, rule number 2 is to do your paperwork. Rule number 2 is to do your paperwork. And you need to get a notebook 6 inches thick because you got a big, long case. Stock it with notebook, college rule notebook paper. Put in subject tabs. And your first important tab is the incident tab. And that's where you're going to list all the incidents you have with them. And they could be with the police or with CPS, something related to your case. You put the date, time, and the people that were involved with that incident. Then the next line, you put the description of what the incident was about. Then skip a couple lines and then put down the outcome. And if you don't know the outcome, you can fill it in later. Then you skip a bunch of lines and you do your next incident. So you need to make that notebook for you to keep it there. Ron said,
Well, I did a visitor's log where I took pictures or I made over the things that we made.
Well, here's what I did. I did not do this, by the way, you guys. I was bad on that. But this is what I would have done is I would have had the incident tab. My next tab would be the tab of all the parenting classes, all the program, anger management, or whatever I took, all the drug tests, if I took a drug test, or all the, the clinical psychiatrist you saw or therapy you saw, all your doctor's visits. You put all that on on the second tab, and you can call that important documents or documents of your completion of your plan or something. And the third tab would be a list of all the phone numbers and websites and info I found regarding CPS. Your next couple tabs are up to you. You may want to put another tab with all your court reports. But the thing is, you want to have this huge notebook. It's going to be heavy and cumbersome, but everything's right there. And you can fight at the judge. You can fight with the attorneys. So you have it all right there. So paperwork is really important. It's very important that you keep track of it because it's going to be, your case is maybe a year to 3 years.
Yeah, it's been 492 days for me now.
Oh, wow.
And this is the longest, my kids have ever been gone. They have never been gone longer than, 60 days, and that was COVID. And I have no resources right now because I'm estranged from my family based on lies. So, it's just a lot. I'm dealing with my sickness. I'm dealing with my mental health, my sobriety. I know you parents are so great out there. You're a really great mother. I know you're in this room because you love your children. And I want to help you do that. Yes, I am. Thank you.
I care about you all. I really do. And
at least somebody does, because CPS does, with the emotional distress and psychological warfare that they use, they break us down and they give us false hope, and then just when we think house and knock us back 50 feet. And
Yes.
it's like, how
Yes.
do we recover from this now, you know?
Okay, my time is up. I never got to my rule number 3. Don't say no to social workers and policemen, and don't let them in your home or take your children. Anyway, I want to thank you all for listening tonight. I think Danielle, for the information from that senator down in Georgia, is helpful. I'm going to read about that. I want to thank to my caller here. Thank you so much from Rochester, New York, Akima. Probably
Richmond, New York. Richmond, New York, Mr. Bates.
Okay. And I want to thank Ron Weber, who did a lot of texting, but no phone call, but maybe the next time. I want to thank Nadia from West Hollywood. West, I think I lost Danielle. I want to thank Danielle, and she just went off. And I want to thank Rosemarie, and that's it. So I'll be on tomorrow at 10 o'clock Pacific time. Don't give up. God bless you all. And this is Bob signing off.
You guys.
Yep. Let me see here.